Hello everyone, this is Gayle. I'm proud to be on the very first RJ Crafts design team. And the project I'm doing for you today is something that I started off just kind of playing with because I had gotten my first box of products that I wanted to do some stuff with. And I turned the camera on while I played, and it ended up turning into a video. So if it's not a very professional quality, which is not something I do anyway, my videos are not very professional, it's more crafty. But that's why. I just wanted to explain. So sit back and enjoy watching me play with these wonderful products. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below, or you can use the link below to get to rjcrafts.com. It's an awesome place. Once you get in there and start looking, you might go a little nuts. But just wanted to let you know, if you sign up for the newsletter, you will get a discount code by email for your first order. So that's always, make your list, then sign up for the newsletter, and then order what you want and get your discount. So enjoy. I'll be back soon. Hello everyone, this is Gayle, and I had started working on, I was just going to experiment a little bit and decided I would turn on my camera. I have gotten my new silk screen from RJ Crafts, and I showed you that it's Paisley's and Lotus, I believe it is. Paisley and Lotus. I'm also going to be using the Born Pretty Micas, and the one I'm using now is part of the glitter set. And I did a video showing the chrome set, but I'm going to be using both of them, and I'm probably going to incorporate some of the RJ Crafts mica powders too, because I'm not going to want this whole thing to be glittery. And this is pretty glittery stuff, but I'm going to make the flowers, the lotus, a pretty metallic pink. It's maybe even a purpley pink. It might even be more of a purple. This is the color that I chose. And see, that looks real purple. But yet this is looking kind of pink. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to just color it in. This is a little bit different than just spreading paint on a silk screen, because this you can take it by little sections. And I may even use a little brush for some of these areas. But I think that is all of the pink. So let me put this top back on. And I am going to leave it out in case I find someplace else that I need it. But I'll at least have the top on. And then I'm going to do some green. And I have two greens that are the glitter. Kind of like that green. Then I also have a green that's the chrome. So I'm thinking I may do the chrome for the leaves. Now this can be time consuming, but it's well worth the effort when you're finished. Actually, I think I put purple on this one, but let me add some green on top and see if it'll work. And then this is some green. and just cover the areas that you want to be green. Now this might turn into a rather long video if you're watching regular time, so feel free to fast forward if you want. I really am enjoying these mica powders. Okay, that's all of the leaves that go with the lotus. I believe that's going to be it. Now what I'm going to do with the rest, let me put these back where they go before I lose track. These are the RJ Crafts mica powders. And I haven't tried these yet. But this is amethyst purple, pink slippers, hammered copper, and white diamonds. So I think what I'm going to do to make my main design, I may do that in let's try it in the purple. This is amethyst purple. And I'm going to use a little brush on this one. I'm going to use my Perfect Pearls brushes, because that's all I use them for is mica powders. And I'm going to take this little one and dip it in the purple. And I'm going to use that on this big line. And this, I love a paisley design. Okay, I decided to go ahead and do the main colors, the main design. I know you can't tell from all that I've done on here, but what I've done is all of the, like the outline of the paisley and wherever those lines continue, I have done them. I left this one off here. I forgot this one here. But as you can see, it's really not difficult. Just take the top off your powders and start coloring again. Alright, so now let me get my paper towel out. I'm just going to wipe my brush off with the paper towel. And let me do the, I had a silver, that's this one. Yeah, this is much finer. Because it's got to be enough that you can press it through the silk screen. There's some more right there. And yep, that's on the clay. Here's some right here. I just wanted this just as a little bit of an accent. Okay, I think that's, for right now, that's all I'll use of that. And then I'm going to use the hammered copper. That just sounds pretty. And I'm just going to fill in whatever places didn't get filled in before. I'm going to fill this in with the copper. And you see I'm not being real careful because this has got a silk screen under it. So a lot of this is going to sit on top. Whoops, that's a little bit much. And I'm probably using way more than I need to. Let me see, there's some there. I'm almost done. I just want to make sure that all this design gets some kind of mica on it. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper and I'm going to lay it over top very carefully, and then I'm going to burnish. Now you can use your finger, you can use a credit card. Some people like to use credit cards, like some, you know, like just go like this, just to push. I pretty much like my finger, but I just thought I'd show you that. And just use your fingers to push that mica down through your silk screen. I got it all over my table. And then I'm going, let me try to wipe a little bit of this up before I take the silk screen up. I really used more mica than I needed, but I just wanted to make sure I had enough to go through the silk screen. Another paper towel so that I have a clean one handy. And I'm going to pull the silk screen off and see what we've got. Ooh, look at that. Can you see how yummy that is? Hopefully I can come in a little bit. Let me move my camera so it won't go out of frame. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I really like that. So now I'm going to play. let me go back out. And I'll move my camera a little bit because I'm going to use these bracelet. I might use it as a bracelet cutter. And I'm going to start with this, and I'm just going to find a spot that's got colors that I like. I'm going to cut that. And I will wiggle it a little bit because this is you know, a plastic cutter. Then I'll go as close to this as I can so that it carries on the design, and I'm going to use cutter number 2, then go back to cutter number 1, it's going to make a gorgeous bracelet. Actually, I probably should have put this on top of another sheet of black clay before I started cutting. But I've gone too far now, so I'll just finish this way, and I'll finish. Just want to make sure I get the lotus in here, because that's, to me, one of the prettiest parts. I love paisley and I love lotus, so this was just a no-brainer for me to get this silk screen. And I need one more of these, so I think I will just cut this maybe right there. Now I'm going to, even though this has got mica powder on it, I'm still going to use it to do a second layer, because it will be the inside of the bracelet anyway. Oh, I really like this cutter. I am really excited to be on this design team because I hadn't heard of these products before. And I totally fell in love with them when I saw them. Okay, so before I do anything else, first off, let me get my I'll tell you what, let me use my little potter's rib to get these up. And I'll lay it on another piece of this deli wrap because it won't be sitting there very long. Oh, these are so pretty. Now, because these are the plastic cutters, the edges are going to be a little raggedy, but that's okay. We can fix that. That's going to go down there. Okay, now let me use my paper towel to get this mica off. And I'm going to roll out some black, and I'm going to mix it with this with the mica. Like I said, that's okay. But I'm not going to make you listen to me as I condition this clay. So I'm going to condition it and roll it out, then I'll be back. Okay, I've got this rolled out. This is some black rolled out to a number 3. And I pulled out a texture sheet. And I'm going to spray a little bit of water on it, just so it doesn't stick to my clay. And I'm going to lay this on here. And I'm just going to roll across it once with my roller. Because if you go back and forth, you'll end up with a ghost image. And there we go. See, I've got a little bit of texture on this. Let me dry the water off. And I'm just going to put that face down. And I'm going to use these cutters again. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of this cutter. So I'm going to cut 1. And this one doesn't need to be rounded. 2, 3, 4. And then I have 4 of the other cutters, so I'll do 4 of those. They're going to stick. I can't get my finger in this one to pop it out. So I'll just use a ball tool. Okay, I can move this out of the way. And I will turn my bracelet over. And I will make sure that these are down in the bracelet. And then I will just turn them over so that the textured side is up. And I will match these up. You might want to just run your finger around the edge a little bit. But then just match these up. It's funny, the little ones don't seem to grab as much clay as these others do. And just continue until you've got a backing on all of your pieces. And you don't have to press hard, but press enough that it's going to stick to the clay underneath. Whoops. put the texture up on that one. And that's just to give it a little extra, little bit of a design. You don't want it to be too plain on the back. If you want, you can just use your fingers just to gently curve the edges so they won't have sharp edges. And I'm going to bake these in the oven. And you know me, I like to bake for an hour. So those were a little close. I don't want them to bake together. I'm going to bake these at 275 for an hour, and then I'll be back. Alright, this is the beads after they are baked. And I don't know if you can see the sparkle. Can you see the sparkle on these? But I just think they're gorgeous. And what I'm going to do, first I'm just going to give them a little bit of a twist to kind of break them loose from the knitting needles. And I'm just going to pull them off. See how easy they come off after you just break them loose with that little twist. And because I didn't do this in the right order, I should have kept everything. Let me put these away. When I cut these, I should have waited and cut everything at one time, except I couldn't cut the bottom. But anyway, even some of the sparkle got on the bottom. I don't know if that's permanent or not. But you'll see that some of these, like this one, is a little bit off. So I'm going to need to trim this a little bit. And you can do it a couple of ways. You can use a X-Acto knife. And let me go out a little bit just so you can see more of what I'm doing, but I'm just going to just trim a little bit here so that it goes even with the side. And that looks fine. Let me see if there's any others that need to be trimmed. This one needs a little bit of a trim. You could use your blade. I just feel like I have more control with my X-Acto knife. And I am going to sand this when I'm finished. Well, I see the back didn't get, not all of the back got pressed in the middle. See what I'm saying? That instead of having two channels through here, I should have a channel here and a channel here, and it looks like it's open through there. Not all the way. Some of it touches, but I wasn't real careful in making sure that they were closed all the way down. But that's going to be okay. I got that one on that side. I think this side is okay. Alright, now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some sandpaper. I'm not sure what this grit is. It's just an all-purpose sandpaper that I keep here in my drawer. And I'm just going to, where I cut off those edges, I'm just going to sand a little bit. Just because you don't want any sharp areas. And you may want to just go around this edge a little bit also. And you can feel it in your sandpaper the rough places. Some of them don't even have any rough places. Like this feels, there's a place right there. But just take a little bit of sandpaper just to smooth that out a little bit. And after I sand this, I'm going to coat them with resin. So why don't I go ahead and do that rather than have you watch me sand. But I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to finish sanding these, and then I'm going to coat them with resin, and then I'll come back and we'll make it into a bracelet. So I'll be right back. Well, I am back, and my beads are all covered with their resin, and oh, they're just beautiful. I know you can't see the sparkle too much on the camera, but when I put the resin on top of these beads, it's like somebody turned a light on underneath and these sparkly, pretty micas came through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this into a stretchy bracelet. And I've got these beads. These are just some black AB beads, Aurora Borealis. And since they are black and they shine in purple and blue and green and gold, I thought I would go ahead and use these on this bracelet because they have the same colors. Now I'm going to use the Doris. Let me fasten this back. The Doris stretchy cord, and this is 1 millimeter. I like to use the 1 millimeter. It's probably one of the thickest that they make. But it's really strong. And it's not real stretchy like a rubber band so that you don't have it drooping all over the place. And I have cut 2 lengths because I have 2 areas of beads. And I'm going to take each end and I'm just going to pull them out. You can't see how far I'm going, but I'm probably 2 feet out. And that's to give them an initial stretch so that once you put your bracelet on here, when you put it on your wrist, it's not going to give. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to go through here. And I think I'm going to try doing both at the same time. I don't usually do that. But this is all new for me too, so let's try it and see what happens. Now I do have some little clips that I could put on the end, but I think I'm going to be okay. I think I allowed enough space. And then I'm going to put a bead. And a bead, one on each end. It's not easy to see these holes sometimes. I'm going to put this one aside. Some of these, just the holes just aren't the same as in others. Okay, there it is. I'd lost that bead. So I'll have those. And you know what I think I'll do is I'm going to just tie this into a loose knot. Just so this bead won't come off. And then I can cut this knot off at the end. There we go. Just cut that in a knot. So this way the beads will not come off. So I can push these all I want and not worry about the beads coming off. And I'll have this one come off this way, this one come up this way. So then we're going to need a big bead. If you feel better just doing one side at a time, that's fine. And then we go back to a crystal. I have got more beads, and I'm not even a beader, but I have bought so many crystals and things to go with my designs, and I don't pretend to be a jewelry designer because I am not. But since people seem to want to see finished projects, I felt like I needed to have some beads so I could finish some projects. And you know, if you're like me and you're a craft addict, you have to have a little bit of every color. And these are going to be pretty. Now, if you need these to be a larger size, if you need the bracelet to be a larger size, you can use bigger beads. But I think I'm going to fast forward now while I finish this. And then come back to regular time when I'm ready to finish off tying it off. Okay, so we are about done. Let me untie this cord here. Now just remember, since I didn't put a bead here, I needed to put one on this end so that there would be beads in between this one and this one when I turn it around. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to take the one that's on top. While I've got this here, I wanted to show you, I didn't want to do a full layer of resin on the back. So what I ended up doing, I had some on my fingers when I finished, and I just took my fingers and rubbed a very thin layer over. They're not all real shiny, but most of them are shiny, but it's a very, very thin layer that I did with my fingers, and I think it just gives it a nice finished look. So this is the one on the bottom. And I'm going to tie a knot in this one. I'm not going to tie it tight yet because I want to do the other one. So this is the other set. Just make sure that you're tying the right ones together or you're going to have a twisted bracelet. And I'm going to take these, I'm going to pull them as tight as I can get it. And I'm going to tie a second knot. So this will make it into a square knot. Actually, I'm going to do a jeweler's knot, which is instead of looping it over once, you loop it over twice. Can you see that? And that gives a more stable knot. And just pull it tight. And hopefully that won't be too big for me to hide in a minute. Alright, so that one is tied. And let me go to the other two. Loop that once because it came loose. Pull it as tight as I can. And I'll do a double one here. Go over once and then go over again. I don't know with this thicker cord if we really need to do that, but I'm going to anyway. And just pull the ends so it makes a pretty good little knot. That might be a little too thick, but I'm going to see if it'll still work. Then I'm going to take, there it is, I'm going to take some Loctite super glue. This is the gel. I love this stuff. I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to put some glue right on that knot. Try not to get it on the beads. Actually, I'm going to just do it one at a time. There, I can stretch it that way. Just put a little dab of super glue on your knot. That's just to kind of reinforce it a little bit. Give it a minute to dry. Your super glue dries pretty quickly. Then you can snip these really close because your super glue is going to hold it. I'll leave maybe a 1/16 of an inch left on there. Then what I'm going to do is, here's where the knot is. See where the knot is? I'm going to go to the other side of the bead and I'm going to pull and try to get that knot inside of the bead. I may have to trim a little bit more off of it because it looks like one of the tails is hanging out. I do the same thing on the other side. Now that one went in, so maybe I can get this other one to go in. There, so that hides the knot. You don't see the knot there anymore. And your bracelet is done. Let me put it on. Oh, I love this. This is so pretty. And there you go. There is a gorgeous bracelet. I love these cutters, and I love the mica powder. I like everything about this, really. I like the mica powders. I like the shapes from these cutters, from the RG Crafts, RJ. I keep wanting to say RG because I also am a follower of Richard Garay, who is RG. So I'm having a really hard time saying RJ instead of RG. But there is your bracelet. So I hope everybody checks out the cutters. These are the cutters that I used. This is cutter set number 77, I believe I said it was. Let me just get my paper out. Yes, cutter set number 77, and it's a bracelet. And you get both of these shapes, and I just think it makes a gorgeous, gorgeous bracelet. Look at that. And I'll put a link below. I'll put a link to the RJ Crafts website, and then I'll also put a link to the items that I used in this tutorial. So come back again soon, and I will be doing another RJ Crafts design team tutorial. So happy crafting. Bye-bye.